This is another method in solving systems of linear equation using Gaussian elimination method. Now, to apply this method, first we have to transform this set system of equation into a matrix equation. Ax equals b. This is our matrix equation. After that, matrix A will be converted to an upper triangular matrix, which is U. U here is an upper triangular matrix. A is converted to U. Okay? A is converted to U. So meaning matrix A will be converted to upper triangular matrix. No? So I will teach you how to convert later. And then we have here, now we have the column vector B becomes, when matrix A is converted to U, no, it follows that column vector B will be converted to column vector V as in violet. Okay? So column vector B is converting to column vector V. Okay? So ganun siya. So I will teach you how to convert this matrix equation to this kind of matrix equation. Okay? So this is the upper triangular matrix again. When we talk about upper triangular matrix, this is matrix wherein all the elements below the major diagonal are all zero. So in here, this is our major diagonal. Now these are the elements in the major diagonal, and below it, no, they are all zero. No, below the major diagonal, they are all zero. Okay, and above the major diagonal, they can be zero or non-zero. And in that case, that is now classified as an upper triangular matrix. And then we have the column vector x, which are for the variables x of 1 to x of n. Then we have the column vector v, no? The new values, no? For we have the new values v1, v2, vn. Okay. Originally, those values are v1, v2, v3 until v sub n. Now, when we transform it to an upper triangular matrix, when we transform it in this equation, ux equals v, some of the values will change. Okay, some of the values will change. No, some of the elements, no, the value of the elements will change. So let me give you an example later. So in this case, we have now when performing this, okay, in order to solve for the values x sub 1, x sub 2 until x sub n, which is our goal, not to determine the values of those unknowns, we are to apply back substitution. No, we are to apply back substitution. So later I will discuss this in detail when we have an example. No, so let's now study about the rules in performing Gauss elimination. So remember this. To begin performing Gauss elimination, matrix A is augmented. No? So in other words, we add certain elements in A. No? So we add certain elements in A. Okay? With the column vector B. In other words, the elements of column vector B, no, will be added to the elements of matrix A. No? So to give you, so let me illustrate. So we have, if this is the augmented matrix form, So this is the notation. We have a bracket, no? And then inside the bracket, we have matrix A. And then, as you notice, there is a separator, meaning matrix A is segmented. It is segmented with the column vector B. So this is our column vector B. In short, here's illustration. So here's matrix A originally. These are the elements of matrix A. Okay. And then this is the separator. Okay. Meaning that matrix A is segmented. So here's now the illustration for that. So we have row 1, then a separator, followed by the first element, b sub 1. Then row 2, then a separator, followed by the second element, b sub 2. So as you notice, b1, b2, until b sub n are the elements of the column vector b. Okay? Those are the elements of the column vector b. Now, we proceed. We proceed with an example to better understand our topic. Find the solution of the given system of linear algebraic equations. So this is the given system of linear equations. Our goal is to determine the solution of the given system. When we talk about find the solution, meaning we are to determine the unknown values, no, x, y, and z, no, x, y, and z in this example. To do that, excuse me, we are in order uh, to make it not that difficult to solve, we let we can let so we can let x equals x sub 1, y equals to x sub 2, z equals to x sub 3. So as you notice, we have x becomes x sub 1, y becomes x sub 2. And then in other words, because no z, in other words, we have 0x3. Okay, 0z or 0x3. That is equals to negative 4. This is our first equation. Then we have the second equation. So we have minus 0.7 x sub 1 plus y x sub 2 minus 0.7 x sub 3 is z equal to 34. Now, then we have this equation, the third equation. So we have x sub 1. So as you notice, there's no x here. That means that's 0x or 0x1. Then we have y. Okay, so y is equals to x sub 2. Okay, then we have z. That is x sub 3 equals to negative 40. Okay, so the next step is to convert this system of equations into a matrix equation in the form ax equals b, wherein to perform Gaussian elimination, we are to augment matrix A with the column vector B. No? Augmenting matrix A with the column vector B gives us this. So this is now the matrix that is augmented. So we have, as you notice, we write the elements. So this is A sub 1, 1, right? A sub 1, 1 is 1. Then this is A sub 1, 2, no? Row 1, column 2. then A sub 1, 3, okay, row 1, column 3, that is 0. Then we have B sub 1, okay, can you follow? Then we have this one, this is A sub 2, 1, second row, first column, no? Then this is 1, second row, second column, no? Then negative point 7 is A 2, 3, okay, so you know that, so then 34. Then we have 0, negative point 7, followed by 1, followed by negative 44. So B1, B2, B3. Understood? So that is the augmented matrix. Now, what is our goal here? Our goal is to convert this equation in terms of ux equals v. So we are to convert this matrix equation in terms of another matrix equation, which is ux equals v, such that U now is an upper triangular matrix. So if our objective is to convert A into an upper triangular matrix U, we must consider all the elements below the major diagonal. And all the elements below the major diagonal should be converted to 0. So these are the elements below the major diagonal, right? And as you notice, we have 3 elements below the major diagonal. Okay? So since we have 3 elements below the major diagonal, and since also we have 0 here, this is already 0, therefore we will not solve this anymore because it's already 0. No? So our objective now is to convert the rest of the elements to 0 so that it will be converted to an upper triangular matrix. But in doing that, no, the elements 1, negative zero point 7, 34 will be altered or will be changed when we change this to 0. No? When we change the element in the second row first column, which is negative zero point 7. No? The other elements will be affected in that row. In the same manner, in this negative zero point 7 in the row 3 column 2, no, the element in the third row second column, okay, when we change this to 0, okay, 1 will also be changed and negative 44 as well, okay. But how will that happen? So this is now the procedure on how to make this 0, no, all the elements below the major diagonal equal to 0. So here's the procedure. So to do that, since we start here, no? So this is our major diagonal, no? So this is our major diagonal. Now, considering that, no, negative zero point 7 should be converted to 0. Okay? So negative zero point 7 should be converted to 0. So in other words, if this should be converted to 0, okay, so that means 1, negative zero point 7, and 34 will change, no? So they will change. So in this case, the location of negative zero point 0.7 is at row 2. And since the location is at row 2, okay, to change this to 0, the process will be like this. To change this to 0, we are to multiply the old the old the first all the original or old elements in the second row by, so R2 multiplied by A11, okay, which is the element above negative zero point 0.7. So in other words, this will be our reference row. This will be our reference row. So if this is our reference row, as you notice, the elements below A11 are negative zero point 0.7 and 0, okay? And we are to convert negative zero point 0.7 to 0, okay? So therefore, since A11 is along the major diagonal, it will be a reference because it is along the major diagonal. It will be a reference, okay? So that negative zero point 0.7 will be converted to 0, okay? So that means we multiply this by A11, okay? And then, next step is to subtract. We'll subtract what? So, we will subtract, so if this is row 2, okay, all the elements in row 2 will be multiplied by A11, then we subtract it by, now, to determine the row, we have to determine the location, the row location of A sub 11. And it is obvious that it is in the first row, first column. Therefore, this will be R1 because it follows. If A11 is in the first row, therefore, this will be R1. No? So this is the old elements or the original elements. By the way, R2 here will be the new elements. No? The new elements such that negative zero point 0.7 will become 0. No? Negative zero point 0.7 will become 0. So we continue now. So we have R1 old, or should I say our reference row. This will be our reference row. No? This will be our reference row. This is also reference. Okay, A11 because it is along the major diagonal. And then we multiply this by A sub. Okay, what shall we multiply here? So as you notice, we are to convert negative zero point 0.7 to 0. Since that is our goal, that is simply A21. Meaning, this is the element wherein we will convert that to 0. We will convert A21 to 0. So we write the original value. No? The original value. So this is old. No? The original value, A21. That is negative zero point 0.7. So A21, element in the second row, first column. So this is A21. Okay? So that's the process. And upon doing this, there will be new elements. Okay? There will now be new elements. So in short, we start with the first element at row 2. What is the first element at row 2? Negative zero point 0.7 times A11. A11 is 1 minus R1. First element. What's the first element? R1. First element is A11, right? Row 1. This is row 1. Okay, this is row 2, this is row 3. Okay, these are the original or old elements. Old row, no? Old row, old rows, okay, for the old elements in that row. So we have R1 old, that is the first element, that is 1, that is A11. Okay, and then A21 old, so meaning A21 is A21, second row, first column, negative zero point 0.7. There, no? And then we get what? Negative zero point 0.7 plus zero point 0.7, we get 0. There, it becomes 0, no? So that means there will be a new value of the element in the second row. First, the element in the new value of the first element in the second row, no? That will now be 0, no? New value for the second row element, considering the first. This will now become 0. Okay, so this is a process. So I'll give you one more example. Let's see. We consider the second element for each row. Are you still there or na-disconnect ako? Ha?
Nandito
Nandito
pa
pa
po,
po.
sir.
Okay, okay. So we consider the second row. Okay, considering that, R2 second element, that is 1, right? R2 row 2 second element, that is 1. A11 reference, this is A11, that is 1. R1 old, second element, R1 old second element. Ano yon? R1, eting row 1. Nasaan yung second element? Ito yung negative zero point 0.7, right? Multiplied by A21, old. Ito yung A21. Okay? That is negative zero point 0.7. What shall we get? So we will get what value? Still there?
Zero point 0.51, sir.
Okay, 0.51. Okay. So we have 0.51. Okay? So ito yung mga new values natin for row 2, 0. Dito ko sulat, row 2 new values, 0, 0.51. Yan. Okay? So one more example. Then we apply the third. Third naman. Okay? Third. Ano yung third element natin dyan? Row 2, third element. Row 2, third element, negative zero point 0.7. A11 is 1. R1, third element, is 0. Ano yung A21 old natin? negative 0.7. Okay? So, ano yung sagot niya? Negative 0.7. So, negative 0.7. Okay? So, para sa row 2. R2, new values na yan, ha? New. Okay? And then, hanggang umabot tayo sa fourth. No? Hanggang umabot tayo sa fourth. Okay? Considering the fourth. So, ano yung fourth dyan? Fourth, R2, row 2, fourth element, 34. A11, 1. R1, fourth element, negative 4. A21, negative zero point 0.7. So, we'll get what?
31.2 po.
So, 31.2. So, okay, 31.2. Okay, there. So, ito yon. Okay, ayan. Okay. So, yun ang process. Okay. So, R2 times A11 minus R1 times A21. No? How about yung row 3? Considering row 3. Row 3 naman, we are to change row 3 elements. So, halimbawa ito no, yung hindi to 0. Halimbawa ay hindi yan 0. Okay? Kasi ang objective natin, lahat to maging 0, right? Okay? So, halimbawa hindi yan 0, ito pa rin ang reference mo. No? Ito pa rin yung reference mo dahil nakasakop siya ng A11 kasi pailalim eh. Okay? Pailalim dapat 0 lahat. So ito ay 1. Tapos lahat ng elements sa ilalim niya dapat 0. No? So in this case, halimbawa hindi yan 0. Okay? Ito pa rin magiging reference element natin class. So in that case, saang row nakalocate itong element na to? Saang row nakalocate? Row 3, di ba? Row 3. Ngayon, anong i-multiply ko sa row 3 para maging 0 yan? So, i-multiply ko siya dun sa reference. A reference element na kung saan yung element na yon ay nasa major diagonal. Then minus, saan ang A11? Anong row nakalocate? Row 1. Tapos, i-multiply ko siya ng element na gagawin kong 0. Halimbawa, hindi ito 0. So, para gawin siyang 0, i-multiply mo ng anong element to? Third row, first column, no? Third row, first column. So, multiply mo ng A31 para makuha yung mga bagong elements doon sa row na yan. So, R3, original elements. Okay, R1, original. Okay. Lahat yan original naman eh. Set yung new. Okay? So, tapos consider mo yung first. First, Yan. Ito, fix. Fix yan ha. A11, A31. First, then followed by second. So sabihin, makakakuha ka ng first nyo, second nyo, di ba? Third nyo, then yung fourth nyo. Okay? So, ganun yung pattern. Okay, so ito siya. Ayan. Ayan. Okay? R3, kung nasa ang location ng gagawin mong 0, saang row ang location ng gagawin mong 0? Nasa third row. I-multiply mo siya sa element na nasa major diagonal. Okay? At na kung saan ang element na yun na nasa major diagonal ay nasa reference row. Okay? Minus no reference row mo. Ito yung row kung saan nasa yung element A11. Multiply mo siya ng A31 kung ano yung element na gagawin mong 0. Okay? And then, it follows ang pattern. Okay? So, using inductive reasoning, no? If this is R2, this is R3 kasi may pattern eh. This will become R4. This is A11, A11. This will become A11. R1, R1, R1. A21, A31, A41. Okay? So that will be the pattern. No? Kung meron ka pang fourth row, no? Kung meron ka pang fourth row. And it also follows, kung meron ka pang fifth row, let's say 5 equations, 5 unknowns, R5, A11, R1, A51. Ganun siya. And so forth and so on. So ito siya in short, no? Ito yung mga values. Okay? Ito yung 0 na nakuha natin kanina, no? O ulitin ko. Ito yung objective natin, gawin tong 0. Okay? So, consider natin yung first. Okay? Consider natin yung first. R2 first element, negative 0.7. Multiplied by A11. A11 is 1. Minus R1 first element, 1. A21. This is A21. Negative 0.7. What shall we get?
0.
Therefore, we got the answer 0. This will now be R2 new. R2 new first element. So this is R2 new 0. First element for row 2. Okay? Let's consider now the second one. The second element. Okay? So considering the second element, we have, now let's obtain the second new element in row 2. R2 second element, 1. No? So R2 second element is 1. 1 multiplied by A11. 1 pa rin. Minus R1 second element, negative 0.7. Multiplied by A21, negative 0.7. Anong sagot?
0.51.
0.51.
Ayun, nakuha yan, 0.51. Gets nyo? Tingnan natin ang third, no? Third. third. Okay. At R2, third. Ito yan, negative 0.7. A11, 1. R1, third element. Ito yan, 0. A21, negative zero point 0.7. Sagot, negative zero point 0.7. Nakuha siya. Next, ano naman natin yung fourth? Okay. Consider natin yung fourth. So, erase natin to. Considering the fourth element. R2, fourth element, original, 34. A11 is 1. Minus. R1, fourth element, negative 4. Multiplied by A21, negative zero point 0.7. You'll get this. 31.2. Verify kung ano. Tama ba?
Yes, sir. Tama po, sir.
Okay.
31.2.
That's it. O, try natin yung row 3 kung tama pa rin. Kasi, actually, kahit hindi yan zero yan or hindi zero, okay, yung transformation process na to, applicable pa rin. Kahit anong value nito, whether zero or non-zero. Okay? So, kahit hindi mo na gawin yung process na to, kapag zero na yan. Pero, for checking purposes, okay, pwede mo naman gawin yung process na to. So, ibig sabihin yan, walang mababago sa third row. Kasi, zero na yun eh. Zero na yan. So, pero check pa rin natin kung tama. So, R3, new. Okay. And then, we consider yung first. No? First and first. So, check natin. R3, first element. R3, first element. 0, di ba? R3, first element, 0. Row 3. Times A11 is 1. Minus R1, first element, 1. A31, 0. 0 times 1 minus 1 times 0 is 0. So, therefore, we got 0. Tama yun. So, halimbawa, hindi ito 0, magiging 0 pa rin yan. Okay? Magiging 0 pa rin yan. Okay? May example tayo mamaya na hindi yan 0. Sige. So, in that case, consider naman natin yung second. Second, we have so ano to, A31 na. Second, R3 second element, negative 0.7 times A11 is 1 minus R1 second element, negative 0.7 multiplied by A31, 0. Ano sagot? Negative 0.7. Nakuha yan. Okay? And then, consider natin ng third. Okay, we have R3 third element, 1. A11, 1. Minus minus R1 third element, 0. A31, 0. Ito, A31. So, 1. Ayun. And then, consider natin yung fourth. R3 fourth element, negative 44. A11, 1. R1 fourth element, negative 4. A31, 0. So, negative 44. Did you get it?
Yes po, sir.
Sir.
Yes po.
Okay, next step. VR2. So, alam natin, ito yung ating major diagonal na bago. Ngayon, isa na lang ang problema. Gagawing 0 yan. Kung gagawin mong 0 yan, sa taas niya, 0.51. Ito yung magiging reference element natin ngayon. A22, our reference element. Gets nyo? Okay? Kasi nasa major diagonal siya. Kasi this is our objective, to make negative 0.70. Diba? Para maging upper triangular matrix. So in that case, above it, no, yung element above it is 0.51, wherein 0.51 is in the second row, second column. No? So this will now be our reference. At the same time, ito yung ating row 2 reference. Ang row 2 natin na magiging reference because A22 is located at row 2. No? So ito rin yung ating reference. So kung reference yan, ibig sabihin yan, pag kinuha natin yung mga bagong values ng mga elements, no, yung mga bagong values, mare-retain yung mga values na nasa row 2. Kasi reference sila eh. Kanina, yung row 1 reference. Tignan nyo yung mga values na retain. Na-retain yung mga values. 1, 1. Negative 0.7, negative 0.7. 0, 0. Negative 4, negative 4. Kasi nga reference natin kanina ay row 1. O dito naman, row 3, ang row 2 ang ating reference. So, babaguhin natin yung negative 0.7 na to na 0. Kung babaguhin mong 0, una mong isipin, saang row ba siya nakalocate? Yung negative 0.7 na to. It's located at
Row 3.
row 3. Since it is located at row 3, i-multiply mo siya doon sa element na reference. What is the reference element?
A22.
Okay. Then, ima-minus mo siya dun sa row na kung saan reference row. Ibig sabihin yan, kung saan ang row ng A22. Which is, kanina, row 1 reference, kaya R1, R1. Ngayon, row 2 reference, so R2 na siya. Gets nyo? And then, multiply mo siya ng element na gagawin mong 0. Ano ba yung objective mong gagawin 0? Ito negative 0.7. Gagawin mo siyang 0. In that case, if this is the element in the what column and what row?
A32.
Okay, A32, third row, second column. Okay. O yan, meron ka ng equation, meron ka ng expression. O Tapos magkakaroon ka ng mga bagong values ng R3. So, original, then new. Yan na yung expression natin. Okay? So, in short, ito siya. R3 A22 minus R2 times A32. R3 new. Okay? Ayan. Ngayon, pag ginawa mo yung process na yan, ito ang lalabas na sagot. Pero bago ko i-reveal ang sagot, ito muna. R3, ito yung mga new element. Consider natin yung first element kada row. R3 first element, 0. A22, 0.51. Minus, ayun ang sagot. Dapat 0 to. Minus R2 first element, 0. Ay, napura. 0. R3 first element, 0. Times A22, 0.51. Minus R2 first element, 0. Times A32. Saan ang A32? Ito yung A32. Yung negative 0.7. Anong sagot? 0. Kaya nakuha yung 0 na to. R3 first element new. This is R3 new, di ba? R3 new ngayon. First element niya is 0. R3 new. Okay? Gets nyo, class? Consider natin yung second. Second, R3 second element, negative 0.7 times A22, eto 0.51, minus R2 second element, 0.51 times A32, negative 0.7. Anong sagot?
0.
Nakuha yung 0, yun. Diba? R3 first, second. R3 new second element. R3 new second element. Tignan natin yung R3 new third element. Okay. Third element. Tignan natin yung third. R3 third element. 1. A22, 0.51 minus R2 third element, negative 0.7. And then A32, negative 0.7. What's the answer?
0.02.
Ayun, nakuha yun. 0.02. Gets nyo, class? Last. Fourth element naman. Fourth element. So, R3 fourth element, negative 44 times A22, 0.51 minus R2 fourth element, 31.2. multiplied by 832, negative 0.7. So what's the answer?
Negative 0.6 po.
Okay, ayun, nakuha yun, negative 0.06. Okay, any question? So we proceed. So is this now an upper triangular matrix? Ito, yes or no?
Yes po.
Ha? Is it an upper triangular matrix now?
Yes,
Yes
sir.
po, sir.
Yes
Yes,
po, sir.
correct.
Yes po,
So
sir.
the next step is to perform back substitution. So here is back substitution. So the interpretation of this, no, this one is like this. So we can interpret it as 1 negative 0.70, 0.51 negative 0.7 followed by 0, 0, then 0.02 multiplied by, okay, we remove now this one, the separator symbol. Okay, so we have x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3. We replace it by x1, x2, x3. Then we put an equal sign, equal to negative 4, 31.2, and negative 0.6. So this will now be our equation. Okay? And then, perform lang natin yung matrix multiplication. So ano to by matrix multiplication? Anong size na matrix na to? 3 by 3. Anong size na matrix na to? 3 by 1. Are they conformable? Are they conformable yung 3 by 3 sa 3 by 1 kapag minultiply? Yes. Anong palatandaan? The number of columns of the square matrix is equal to the number of rows of the column vector. No? So, 3 equals 3. Therefore, pwedeng multiplication. Diba? They are conformable. At, pwede na natin na malaman din anong magiging size ng matrix kapag ginawa natin yan. So, 3 by 1, yun ang magiging size ng ating matrix, 3 by 1. Diba? 3 by 1, yun ang bagong size. So, multiply natin. Okay? Multiply natin. So, ang step, alam nyo na. So, by back substitution, sabihin nito, 0x1 plus 0x2 plus 0.02x3. So, sabihin nito, by back substitution, 0.0x3 equals negative 0.6. Tapos, ano yung x3? Oh, what is the answer? Tapos, kung ano man makuha doon, to 0x1 plus 0.51x2 o 0.51x2 plus negative 0.7x2 negative 0.7x2 equals 31.2. Ganun siya. Okay? So, in short, ganito lang yan. O by back substitution, kahit wag mo nang gawin yon, ito diretso na, 0.02x3 equals negative 0.6. Okay? Tapos, ito naman, 0.51x2 plus negative 0.7x3, 31.2. Tapos, ito naman, 1x1 plus negative 0.7x2, 0x3, negative 4. Gets nyo, class? So, ganyan ang back substitution. So, what is x sub 3? X sub 3 is negative 30. And then, apply natin. So, therefore, x sub 3 negative 30 is z, negative 30. So, apply natin. Second row, 0.51 x2 minus 0.7 x3. Replace x3 by negative 30. What will be our x sub 2? Alam niyo ba mag-shift solve sa calcu? Ha? Alam niyo mag-shift solve? Kung nahirapan kayo mag-algebra, mag-shift solve na lang kayo. Mahirap? Mahirap ba? So, 20 ang sagot. And then, 1x1. So y now is 20. And then, we have 1x1 or x1 plus negative 0.7 x2. We have minus 0.7 x2 plus 0 x3 equals to negative 4. So, what is x sub 1?
Ten po.
10 po.
Okay. So, 10. Okay, any question? So, therefore, x is 10. So, this is the simulation of the problem for the system of linear equations. So, let me show you how to apply it. No? How to simulate the problem in Excel. Okay, using the Gaussian elimination method. Okay, so sabihin natin, copy-paste ko muna ito. So, syempre, alam nyo nang gawin to, class, diba? So, pero sa mga hindi pa alam, ulitin ko. Okay. So, meron tayo ditong 1x. So, 1x. Negative 0.7y. Okay. And then, negative 4. Z pala, 0z. No? And then, negative 4. Okay. And then, second equation, negative 0.7x. Then, followed by 1y. Followed by negative 0.7z. Ayan. And then, followed by 34. Okay. Then, third equation, we have negative 0.7. Negative 0.7. Hindi pala. 0x. 0x. Then, negative 0.7y. So, yung may laptop, pwede nyo sabayan ako. Pero sa tingin ko, hindi nyo ako masasabayan dahil pwede. Pwede nyo ako masabayan. Oo. Okay. Negative 0.7y plus 1z equals negative 44. Okay. And then, gawin natin siyang matrix equation. Gawin natin siyang matrix equation. Okay? So, kung gagawin natin siya matrix equation, so equal to dito, equal to dito, equal siya dyan, equal to dito, equal to dito, equal siya dito. Okay? Tapos, ganun din, equal to 0, equals to negative 0.7, equals to 1. Magtanong kayo halimbawa, hindi kayo, hindi nyo alam yung part na nako-confuse kayo, So, meron equals negative 4, equals 34, equals negative 44. There, no? So, yan ang ating matrix equation. And then, gawin na natin yung augmented matrix natin. Augmented matrix. Okay. So, para sa augmented matrix, ito yun. Okay. O, halimbawa, wala muna to. Okay. Para sa ating augmented matrix, A, so sulat lang natin to. A, ayun. And then, drag down lang natin. Or kahit hindi mo i-drag down, A21, sulat mo na lang. A22, ayun, no? Tapos ito, negative 0.7, so equals din siya dyan. Kaya, i-drag down mo na rin. Okay, 1, negative 0.7. Okay? And then, 0, then drag down. Okay? Then we have negative 4, so equals negative 4. And then, ano to? F20, F21, F22. Ayun. Okay? And then, meron na tayong augmented matrix. Ang goal natin ngayon ay ito. Apply natin yung process na to para ma-convert, no? Okay? Nandyan pa kayo? Na-disconnect ako.
Nandito pa po, sir.
Sige.
Dito pa po, sir.
Dito pa po, sir.
Okay, pa-convert natin, no? So, yan yung mga, ito yung process kasi, no? R2, A11 minus R1 times A21. Tapos magiging element sila sa bago, no? Sa bagong augmented matrix. So, R3, ganun din. A11 minus times A11 minus R1 times A31. Okay? So, by the way, meron na ba nakapag-umpisa sa inyo dun sa assignment na Cramer's Rule? Umpisahan nyo na yun, class?
Gagawin pa lang po, sir.
Doon pa lang po sa pag-matrix na lang po yung problema po, sir.
Okay, okay. So, halimbawa, hindi natin alam to. So, gawin natin ngayon. So, R2, R3. Unang tanong, what is our reference row? Anong reference row natin dito? Kasi, ang goal natin, yung negative 0.7 na to maging 0, tsaka yung pangatlo, 0 na. Pero halimbawa, hindi 0, gagawin natin. So, ito gagawin 0, ito gagawin 0. Therefore, meron kang reference. So, ang reference mo ay anong row?
R1.
Yes,
R1.
row 1. Okay. So, therefore, copy, copy. Lahat ng elements sa row 1. No? Copy na, lahat natin. Kaya, copy-paste, Control-C, Control-V, automatic na nun. No? Control-C, Control-V, ayan. Okay? Then, dito, yan, negative 4. And then, row 2 and row 3 will be changed, no? Yung mga values ng mga elements. So, in this case, excuse me. So, we have R2. R2 first element muna. Ano yung R2 first element natin? Negative 0.7 times A11. First A11 is 1. Ito. Then minus R1 first element 1. So, yun ulit. No? A27. Ito. Times A21. Ito. A21. Negative 0.7. Okay? Enter. 0 na siya nun. Di ba? So, naging 0 siya. Ito. Naging 0 siya. Okay? So, any question?
Nothing so far, sir.
And then, ito naman, okay, R2, first element, second element, kasi babagoyin natin itong lahat ng row 2 elements magbabago. Diba? Maapektuhan eh. R2, second element, 1 times A11, ito, okay, A11, then minus R1 second element, negative 0.7, di ba? R1 second element times A21. Saan yung A21? Ito, yung negative 0.7, A21. Diba? Enter. O, diba? 0.51. O, ganun din dito. R3, R2, third element, negative 0.7 times A11, ito, A11, minus R1, third element, 0 times A21, negative 0.7. Okay? Ayan. Enter. Ayan, negative 0.7. And then, ito, R2, fourth element, 34 times A11, ayun, minus R1, fourth element, negative 4 times A21, negative 0.7. Enter. 31.2. And then dito naman, R3, no? R3 first element, R3 first element, 0. So, equals dito, times A11, ito yung A11 minus R1, first element, 1 pa rin yun, di ba? R1 first element times A31, 0 yun, A31. Enter. O, 0 pa rin, di ba? And then, R3, second element, ito, times A11, ito, A11, okay, minus R1, second element, ito, times A31, ito yung A31, okay, enter. And then, third row na, third element dun sa row 3, R3 third element, 1 times A11, ito, minus R1, third element, 0 times A31, A31, ito, okay, 0, enter. And then, ito naman, R3 fourth element, R3 fourth element, ito, times A11, ito, minus R1 fourth element, ito, times A31. Nakuha niyo yung pattern? Okay, A31. Okay. Negative 44. Ayan. Dahil 0 yan, expect mo, hindi na magbabago yung mga ibang elements. Yun pa rin, kahit i-perform yung process. Okay? So, halimbawa, hindi yan 0, magiging 0 yan, tapos dun mababago yan, negative 0.71, negative 44. Okay? So, mamaya meron tayong example pag iba yung given natin. So, and then, what else? So, yan, no? Na-convert na. Okay na yung dalawa. Ito naman, negative 0.7. Gagawin natin 0 yan. So, para magawang 0, kailangan na apply natin to. Okay. Okay, so start na natin. So, ito yung pangatlo. So, simulate natin. Ito naman, R3 times A22 minus R2 times A32. So, kung mapapansin nyo, tama yung nakuha natin, right? 100, negative, negative 0.7, 0.51, negative 0.7, 0, negative 0.71, negative 431.2, negative 44. Okay? So, next step is this. Okay. Question. Ano yung fixed row? Sabihin niyan, ano yung mga row elements na hindi magbabago? Given itong, kung ito yung ating goal, maging 0 to, ano yung mga elements na hindi mababago? Anong mga row elements? Ha? Di ba ito yung gagawin nating 0? Right? Therefore, kung gagawin natin 0, halimbawa, wala to. No? Kung gagawin natin 0 to, ibig sabihin, mareretain yung 0.51, mareretain yung negative 0.7. Tama ba, class?
Yes
Kasi ito
po.
lang ang
Yes
target
po.
mo.
Opo,
Gawing
sir.
0, mareretain yung lahat ng elements sa row 2 tsaka row 1. O edi copy-paste lang tayo doon. Copy-paste. Okay, ayan. Tapos dito rin, o pwede na nung copy-paste dito. Control-C, Control-V. Tapos drag. Hanggang dun lang. O kaya, yung dalawa, Control-C, Control-V. Ayan, 0, negative 0.7. Diba? Ay. Ayan. Okay. O, Control-C, Control-V. Okay. Ayan. Next. So, mababago is row 3 elements. Okay? We start with the first element in row 3, which is 0. So, 0 times 0 times A22, 0.51 minus R2 first element 0 times A32, ayun, negative 0.7. Enter. Diba? Tapos, dito naman, R3 first element 0. Second element na pala tayo. R3 second element negative 0.7 times A22, ito yan, A22 minus R2 second element, yun pa rin, 0.51
0.51.
times A32 negative 0.7, A32. Enter. Pwede naging 0 siya, right? Yun talaga ang goal natin, maging 0, right? Tapos ito, R3 third element 1 times A22, 0.51 minus R2 third element negative 0.7 times A32 Ito. Third row, second column. Enter. Okay. And then ito. R3, fourth element, negative 44 times A22, ito, minus R2, fourth element, 31.2 times ano, A32. Aning A32. Ito. Diba? Okay? Enter. Gets nyo?
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Actually, may shortcut, no? Itong ito. Pakita ko lang yung shortcut niyan using Excel. So, ang shortcut niyan is this. Hindi na kailangan yun. Okay. So, halimbawa, ito. So, ito equal sa saan? Dito. Right? Row 1 and row 2. Diba? Tapos, si 35. Ayun. Tapos ito. Ayun, 31.2. Diba? Automatic na sila. Okay, tama. Okay, tama. Tapos dito sa part na to, halimbawa wala to. Okay. Ang gagawin ko ay gayahin ko lang to. R3 times A22 first element times A22 minus R2 times first element R2 first element ito, okay, times A32 ito, di ba 0? Ang gagawin ko, ano mangyayari kapag nag-copy paste ako? Hindi ka pareho na 0, di ba? Nag-copy paste ako, nag-iba. Nag-iba yung dapat ano siya A22. A22 ma-maintain at saka A32 ma-maintain. Umusog. 'Di ba? Umusog siya. Ito yung C36, yung C36 saka C37. Umusog sila. So dapat kasi 0 yan Ito yung 0. Dapat ma-maintain doon. Ma-maintain 0.51 negative 0.7. Kaya lang dito, nung nag-copy paste ako, Control C, Control V, hindi sila, umusog yung dalawa doon. Ano yung pwedeng gawin para hindi umusog? Di ba yung A22 tsaka A32 fix sa lahat? Yung nagbabago lang yung R2, R3. Kung first element, second element, third element. So para mapibilis yung ating paggawa, pwede tayo maglagay ng dollar sign. So sabihin niyan, pwede kong lagyan to ng dollar sign. So dahil fixed naman ang A22, lagyan ko siya ng dollar sign. Okay. Yan, dollar sign. Tapos, yung A32, dahil fixed naman, ganun din. Okay. A32. Diba? Yung A32 natin ay B37. Ayun. A32 yan. And then, enter. Edi 0. Copy-paste na natin. O, hindi gumalaw. Tingnan mo. Diba? Hindi gumalaw yung B36, B37. Dahil naka-dollar sign. Sabihin, i-fix natin. O, copy-paste ulit natin. O, hindi rin gumalaw. O, na-maintain dun sa 0.51, negative 0.7. Yung B36, tsaka B37. O, para mabilis matapos, di ba? Negative 0.6. Ayun, nakapareho nito. Right? So, ayun, hindi nagalaw yan. Okay? So, iba-iba ng strategy. Nasa inyo yan. Nag-gets nyo, class? And then, pwede na tayo pumunta sa part na to. Yung part na, burahin ko na to Kaya, wag kong burahin. Ano ko na lang. Transfer yan. Okay. So, ito ngayon, ang next part. Ano na siya? Upper triangular matrix. So, kung ganon, pwede na tayong mag-back substitution. Pwede na tayong mag-back substitution. Ayan. Sobrahin muna natin to. Okay. So, meron tayo ditong, sabihin nito 1x. So, sabihin 1x. Okay. 1x. Negative 0.7y. 0. 0z. Then, negative 4. Okay. Then, ito naman, 0x, 0.51y, tapos to, negative 0.7z, i-drag down na lang natin. Diba? Drag down na lang natin. Ayun. Ayan. Okay. And then, ang mangyayari, solve natin yung x, y, and z using back substitution. So, brain muna natin. So, ano ang z? Equals negative 0.6 over ito, 0.02, di ba? Alam niyo naman, di ba? Di ba na negative 0.6 over 0.02. Ito, no? So, enter. Ayun, negative 30. Tapos yung y, using algebra, para dito, yung sa second equation, 31.2 minus Ano sinasolve natin? Y. 0.7 minus negative 0.7 times Z. Ano yung Z? Negative 30. All over 0.51. So, bigyan natin ng parenthesis. Kasi all over eh. All over 0.51. Ayun. Okay? So, ito, 31.2 P44 minus transpose mo yung negative 0.7Z sa kabila. Kaya minus N44 times B47. Okay? Yung Z kasi, ito yung negative 30. Tapos, over 0.51. Itong J44. Enter, positive 20. Tapos itong last, negative 4 minus, ang sinasolve mo dito ay x, right? Sinasolve mo dito ay x. Therefore, transpose mo yung sa y tsaka yung sa z. Minus ito times y minus ito, yung 0, times z all over 1. So, bigyan natin ng parenthesis ulit. All over 1. All over 1. Huwag mong sulat na 1. Dapat yung G43, hindi 1 ha. Kasi pag nag-edit ako, mali na yung sagot. Mamaya, kung magigets niyo kung bakit yan. So, 1. Di ba? So, G43 dapat pag mong susulat na 1. Okay? Enter. O, 10. No? So, 10. So, check nga natin kung tama. Ano yung mga sagot. Z is negative 30, Y is 20, X is 10. Any question? Ha? Still there?
Wala pa naman po, sir.
Okay. Yan. So, we can check our answers. Tignan natin kung tama, no? Okay, ano yung mga given natin? So, meron tayong mode, 5, 3, 2. So, 1, negative 0.7. Then, 0, 0Z. Then, negative 4. Then, we have negative 0.7. Then, 1Y. Negative 0.7Z. Okay. Then, 34. And then, third, 0x. Negative 0.7y. Then we have 1z. Then negative 34. Equals. So we have 10 as the answer. X is 10. Ayun, tama. Y is 20. Z is negative 30. Okay? So, halimbawa, nag-edit ako. 3, 2, 1. Negative 1, 2, negative 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 2, 5. Tingnan natin ang sagot. Ayan ang mga sagot. Check nga natin kung tama. Okay, check natin kung tama. Kasi pagagawa ko kayo ng ganito eh. Hindi 3 equation, 3 unknowns. 4 equations, 4 unknowns. 4 equation, 4 unknowns. Simulation yan, Gaussian elimination. So, 3 to negative 3. Tapos yung CI4 and DI5. Okay, tapos 2, tapos 2, tapos 5, tapos negative 2. So, tapos 1, negative 1, then 6, followed by 7. Equal sign. Negative 13 over 7, ano yan? Minus 1.857. Kamali yata ako. Wala yung, tingnan natin ulit yung given. 3, negative 3, 4, 5. Tapos, 2 to 5, negative 2. 2 to 5, negative 2. 1, negative 1, 6, 7. 1, negative 1, 6, 7. So, negative 13 over 7. X. Okay. There's something wrong. Negative 1.857. So, sabihin niyan, may error dun sa simulation na i-fix natin. May error dun sa simulation. So, ita-troubleshoot mo ngayon. Okay? So, ita-troubleshoot mo ngayon. Tignan natin yung error. So, tignan natin. Sa bandang X eh. Ito yung error. Natuklasan ko na. Diba? A27. Ito yon. Diba? Enter. B27. Enter. C27. Enter. Ayan. Nakafix siya negative 4. Kasi, hindi natin in-equal sign doon. Or nakalimutan, or naano ko siya, na overlook ko. Equals dito dapat. Na overlook. Ayun, 5. Tignan natin ang sagot. Diba? So, tignan natin ang sagot. Na overlook. Ayun. Parang nakuha na. Negative 1.85714. Okay? Ganun mag-troubleshoot. In case na may mali sa simulation. So, and then negative 2. And then 8 over 7. 1.14. 2857. Ano yan? Check. 1.14 to 857. Okay. O, diba? So, ayan, meron na akong calculator ko sa Excel. Diba? So, mag-edit lang ako ng mga value. Lalo na kung circuits. Diba? Yung pag nag-uusapan, 3 equations, 3 unknowns. Oh. So, ma-apply natin yan. Okay. So, kung wala kang calculus sa bahay, pwede kang gumamit ng Excel. Right? So, in this case, ibalik na natin sa original. 1, negative 0.7. Still there? May cost pa ba ako?
Opo, sir.
Okay,
Opo, sir.
okay.
Sir.
Then 34. Negative 0.7. 1y, negative 0.7. Then 0x, negative 0.7y. Okay, 1z, negative 44. Check ulit natin. O yun, tama pa rin. Negative 30, 20, 10. Okay? Negative 30, 20, 10. Any question? Do you have questions? So wala. So we can proceed. So we can proceed with my next example. So find the solution of the given system of linear algebraic equations. So dito, 4 equations for unknowns. So ganun din ang process. Okay. So arrange natin sila sa ganitong form. Mauuna yung x1 followed by x2 followed by x3 followed by x4. Tignan natin yung second equation. Di ba? x3 minus x2 plus x1. Para di tayo malito. x1 minus x2 plus x3 plus 0x4 equals 0. Then, ganun din sa third equation. Ganun din sa fourth equation. Okay? And then, here's now the augmented matrix. So, we have 2, 4, negative 5, 7. Ito yun. Okay? So, 2, 4, negative 5, 7. Ito yan, no? Okay? Tapos, 1, negative 1. 1, negative 1. 1. Tama, yun. 0. Ito. This is me. And then, 0, no? And then, we have 2. Then, 0. Alam nyo na yung pattern. No need to elaborate. This is me. So, we have, ito naman. Diba? Ang goal natin, ano muna yung ating reference row? O sige, wag ko muna pakita yan. Ito yung ating major diagonal. So, our major diagonal. Okay. So, ito yung mga reference natin. A11, A22, A33, A44. Okay. And then, ito should be converted to 0. Ito ganun din to. Ito 0 na eh. So, walang problema doon. 0 din. Then, dapat din 0 to. Gets nyo, class? Excuse me. So, yun ang objective natin. To convert them to 0. So, ang anong reference natin doon sa pag-convert ng 1 to negative 1 para maging 0? Ang reference natin ay A11 and row 1. Ano naman ang reference natin doon sa 0, negative 1? A22 and row 2. Anong reference natin para yung 2 maging 0? A33 and row 3. Did you get it? So, we can...
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
So, we have... eto, bisa natin dito. Anong reference natin? Yung 2. Right? So, ang reference natin ay row 1. Row 1 as our reference. And this is also our reference, A11. Okay? Reference natin yan. Okay? So, in that case, babaguhin lahat natin yung mga elements na nasa row 2. So, row 2, first element, or every element, I mean, multiplied by A11, yung ating reference element, minus R1, yung ating reference row, multiplied by R1 multiplied by kung ano yung element na gagawin mong 0, A21, di ba? A21. So, yun ang magiging R2 natin. So, yun ang mga new. So, magkakaroon ng new elements, di ba? So, ito yun. So, R2, A11 minus R1 times A21. Okay, then, para sa R3, ito naman. Anong magiging reference natin? Ito pa rin. Diba? Basta under, dun sa element na nasa major diagonal. Basta under. No? Ito pa rin yung reference natin. Tapos row 1 pa rin yung element, yung reference natin. So we have R3. Ito, R3. Diba? Ito yung row kung nasaan yung element na gagawin nating 0. Kaya R3 times A11 reference element minus reference row R1 multiplied by A31 yung gagawin nating 0. Gets nyo? Ayun.
Po, sir.
Opo, sir.
Sige nga, kayong sumagot nito. Ano naman yung ito? Gagawin natin 0. R4 times
A11 po.
1 po.
minus
Negative
R1.
R1.
times.
times E41 po.
Okay, very good. Ganun lang kasimple. So, may pattern siya, no? Ayan. Using inductive reasoning, ayan yung pagiging pattern niya. Okay? So, we can proceed. So, ito yung magiging outcome ngayon. Ayan yung outcome. Check natin, na. First, tignan natin. R2, first element, 1. 1 times A11, 2, minus R1, first element, 2, times A21, 1. 1 times 2 minus 2 times 1 is 0. Kaya nakuha yon. R2, first element, no? R2, first element, no? 0. Gets nyo? And then,
Opo.
second naman. Second. Okay, we have R2, second element, negative 1, times A11, 2, minus R1, second element, 4, times A21, 1. So, ano second? Negative 6. Kaya nakuha yan. Second. No? R2 new second. Okay? And then, para dun sa third, okay, R2, third element, 1. So, in short, at in shortcut, kahit di ko tinitignan yan. Huwag ko nang tignan yan, ha. O, 1 times 2 minus negative 5. Para mabilis ako, times 1. O, 2 plus 5, 7. O, nakuha yun, 7. O, hindi ko natitignan yung pattern, ha. Yung next. 0 times 2 minus 7 times 1. Negative 7. O, yun. Nakuha yan. 4. Nakasunod. Next. 0 times 2 minus 7 times 1. Negative 7. Ayun, nakuha yan. Nakasunod. 5th. Gets nyo?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Okay, so we proceed. Oh, we have ito naman, R3. R3. So, ito yung anong reference natin dito? R1 pa rin. Okay. And then, reference row, R1. Okay. Reference natin yan. And then, we proceed. So, we consider ito. No? Ito, tsaka yan. So, umpisa natin dito sa 2. R2, R3, first element, 2, times A11, 2, minus R1, first element, 2, times A31, 2, 0. Nakuha yun, 0. No? Ito yung ating R3 nyo. Ito yung nyo. Okay? First element. And then, first. Yung para sa second, so meron tayong 0 times 2 minus 4 times 2. Negative 8. Ayun, nakuha. Next. Burahin yun. 3 times 2 minus negative 5 times. Di ko na tinitignan yung pattern. Times 2. Ano yan? 6 plus 10, 16. Okay? Then, negative 4 times 2 minus 7 times 2. Ano yan? Negative 22. Negative 8 minus 14. Ayun. Okay? And then, negative 7 times 2 minus 7 times 2. Negative 28. No? Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
So, we can proceed. Tapos, yung last, ito. So, anong reference ulit? A11 at saka R1. So, meron tayong negative 1 times 2 minus 2 times negative 1. Diba? Ito yung A41. Kasi A11, A41. A11, A41. So, 0 yan. Kaya nakuha yung 0. No? Tapos, second element, negative 1 times 2 minus 4 times negative 1. Anong sagot? 2. 2. Okay? And then 2 times 2 minus negative 5 times negative 1. Negative 1. Nakuha yan. Okay? Then, 1 times 2 minus 7 times negative 1. 9. Then, 5 times 2 minus 7 times negative 1. 70. Did you get it? So,
Yes, coach.
next, oh, babaguhin naman natin yung dalawa. So, ano yung magiging, natin, process? R3, kasi babaguhin natin to R3, nasa row 3. No? Nasa row 3, babaguhin natin. So, ano yung reference natin? Ito yung reference natin. A22.
A22.
Tapos, ito yung ating reference row. No? So, R3 times A22. Diba? Minus reference row R2. Yung gagawin mong 0, yung negative 8, ano yan?
A32.
A32. Ayan. Ayan. No? Tapos, R4, kasi ito yung ating gagawin din natin tong 0. Sasabihin yan, papaguhin natin to. R4 times, ito fix, A22 minus R2 reference times, yung gagawin natin 0,
A42.
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 Okay? Ayan. And then, ang kalalabasan, ito. O, di ba naging 0 yung dalawa? So, ganun din ang gagawin. So, umpisa natin dito. So, ano yung reference natin? Row 2. Row 2 is our reference. Okay? And then, ito yung ating reference element. Ito yung ating babaguhin para sa row 3 muna pala. Row 3 muna pala yung ating babaguhin. Ito. Okay? So, ito yung ating babaguhin. So, R3, first element, 0. Diba? Ito. Times, A22 is negative 6. Minus, R2, first element, 0. Times, A32, negative 8. 0 yan. Kaya nakuha to. R3 first element, no? Consider muna natin yung first. So, ano kaya nakuha yun? Ito yung first ng R3. Okay? R3 new. Okay? Yun ang first. And then, yung second, so R3, second element, negative 8. A22, negative 6. R2, second element, negative 6. A32, negative 8. Ano sagot? 48 minus 48. Nakuha yun. Okay? Then third. Okay? Third, 16. Hindi ko na titignan yung pattern, ha? Times negative 6 minus 7 times negative 8. 16 times negative 6. 16 times negative 6 minus 7 times negative 8. Ano sagot?
Negative 40 po, sir.
Ayun, nakuha yun. Negative 40. And then, ito naman, negative 22, yung, yung pang-apat. Negative 22 times negative 6 minus negative 7 times negative 8. Ano sagot?
76 po.
Ayun. Okay. Then, ito, negative 28 times negative 6 minus negative 7 times negative 8.
Na,
112 po.
Okay. Any question?
Wala po, sir.
wala pa po, sir.
Okay, next. Ito naman babaguhin natin para sa row. Consider natin. Okay. So, we start. Ito gagawin natin 0. No? So, anong reference natin? Ito pa rin. Ito pa rin yung reference natin. Tapos, so meron tayo ditong 2. Hindi ko natitignan yung yung pattern. 2 times negative 6 minus negative 6 times 2. Gets nyo yung aking yung ginagawa? Hindi ko
Opo,
na
sir.
tinitignan yung pattern. 2 times negative 6 minus negative 6 times 2. Para sa second row pa lang yun. Umpisa pala natin sa first row muna. Hindi ko natitignan yung pattern na 0 times negative 6 minus 0 times 2. 0, di ba? And then, kaya nakuha yun, 0, no? Tapos, pangalawa, 2 times negative 6 minus negative 6 times 2. 0, di ba? Kaya nakuha yun, 0. Okay? Next, negative 1 times negative 6 minus 7 times 2. 6 minus 14. Negative 8, tama. Okay? And then, 9 times negative 6 minus negative 7 times 2. Negative 54 minus plus 14. Ayun, negative 40. No? Then, 17 times negative 6 minus negative 7 times 2. Pakikalki mo.
Negative 88 po.
Ayun. Any question?
Wala po, sir.
So, eto na yung ating, eto yung kanina. So, isa na lang babaguhin natin. No? Isa na lang babaguhin natin ito. Okay? So, yan na lang babaguhin natin. So, ano magiging reference element natin kung babaguhin natin yung negative
833 po.
833, yes. Negative 40, di ba? 833. 833. So, yan ang reference ngayon natin. Ano yung reference row natin? Row 3.
Row 3.
Okay. So, babaguhin natin to. Negative 8. Saang row nakalocate si negative 8?
Row 4.
Row 4, yes. Anong i-multiply sa row 4 para ano niya na multiply sa row 4? Reference element 833. Anong i-minus ko? Reference row.
Ah,
Anong i-multiply ko sa reference row? Ito, yung gagawin nating 0.
343.
4, 3. Tama ba? Tama?
yes, sir.
Po, sir.
Yes
O
po, sir.
yan.
Tama po.
O, yan na yung conversion. Okay? R4, A33 minus R3, A43. O, isa lang. Isa lang, oh. Wala na nasa ilalim. So, sabihin, perform na natin. At ito yung magiging result. No? So, yan ang magiging result. Check natin. So, di ko na titignan ng pattern. So, ganito lang yan. 0 times negative 40 minus 0 times negative 8. 0 minus 0 is 0. Kaya nakuha yung 0. Okay? Next. Burahin. Ito naman, 0 times negative 40 minus 0 times negative 8. 0. Ayun. Kaya nakuha yun. Next. Negative 8 times negative 40 minus negative 40 times negative 8. Pakikalky nga. Negative. Ay, kahit hindi na pala. 0. No? Kaya nakuha yung 0. Next. Negative 40 times negative 40 minus 76 times negative 8. Ano sagot?
2,208 po, sir.
Tama to?
Opo.
Yes. O, last. Negative 88 times negative 40 minus 112 times negative 8.
Four four one six po, sir.
Okay. Ganon. Tapos, mag-apply tayo ng back substitution. O, by back substitution, ito, 2208x4 equals 4416. Ibig sabihin nito, 0x1, 0x2, 0x3, 228x4 equals 4416. Yun ang interpretation niya. So, anong sagot?
2 po, sir.
Okay. Next, ito naman. Minus 40x3 plus 76x4 equals 112. Anong sagot? Ang x4 ay 2, ah. Ang sagot ay 1. Next. Ito naman. Minus 6x2, 7x3 minus 7x4 equals negative 7. Ano yung x2? Ang x2 ay 0. Next. Ito, 2x1, 4x2 minus 5x3 plus 7x4 equals 7. Ano ang x1? Negative 1. Any question? Tama ba yung mga nakuha natin?
Opo, sir.
Tama po.
Okay. So yon.